Hey everyone, Joe here, and today is another Gen Con guest. That's right, I'm racking them up now. We've got none other than Matt Henderson from Loke Battle Mats. And sir, I have to say I'm a huge fan of your work. It's
Thank you very,
amazing.
thank you very much. It was great to catch up and show you all of our new offerings at Gen Con.
The ones you could show because they sold out. I was there day two.
Yeah, well, I think we took enough this time. We've
Yeah.
run into problems at shows before where we've misjudged it a little bit and run out like 2 days into a 4-day show. But it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And for those that don't know, you should all know about Loke Battle Mats. This is the stuff that it looks like is built by someone who plays games because it was. Of all the things we wanted as a GM, like, oh man, I really wish I had this. And now you can. So what brought you to building your own, like basically building your own company?
I think we originally started off doing wargaming products. So yeah,
Okay.
so I've got a graphic design background, and I did the large scale sort of like 6 foot by 4 foot mats in PVC, neoprene, all those sorts of things.
Really?
But I tend to do more RPG and board game related things than war games, which might just be a time issue. Although having said that, RPG is not a light time
No.
effort anyway. But anyway, so I ended up doing mats for RPGs, and we did a Kickstarter back in about 2016, 2017
Wow.
for smaller scale mats, so the sort of things you'd get for wargamers, but for people doing RPGs. So two
Yeah.
foot by 2 foot, 2 by 4, that sort of thing. And it's around that time we came up with the book idea. And in fact, I still do. I tend to travel and DM quite a lot. So back then, I used to have like a big rucksack. I used to have like the big sort of like specialist sort of like roll mat bag. So you'd have
Yeah.
like almost like a sword bag. It'd be a sort of like a 3 foot tube bag
Right.
to carry things around. And yeah, just getting to the point where it's like you get there and the players don't do what you're planning on, having set up for them. They did something else. You're like, oh, I've not brought that map because bringing 2 or 3 of them's a bit of a pain. And then you've got the wrong thing, and you can always draw your own.
Right.
Which, like nothing ever survives contact with the players in every situation. So
Ever.
being able to draw is always good. And I do have one to hand. So we do a whole bunch of different versions and
Yeah,
sizes
I
of these
love
things
these.
these days. But this is kind of what started as a company, really. And
Really?
this is just a collection of locations for RPG use
Right.
in
And those are
portable
erase
form.
maps.
They
Yeah?
are erasable as well, yeah. So
Yeah.
they're fully laminated for dry and wet erase. And just to give an idea of the sort of number of things
I
you
love
get,
it.
it's just tons of spreads of scenes you can use.
Yeah, and
And
exactly, and this is what you were describing when you brought like all your maps. You almost had like to have these big, like you said, the sword kit. Obviously, the big poster luggage, and it's bulky. And even if you're traveling, sometimes I go from the third floor to the sixth floor, and I don't want to roll these maps. I'm like, oh man, like I have one this like unruly thing. I'm like, I just like had something a small, portable item like that is amazing.
yeah, and I think it's fair to say that all these things should be in your war chest. Like don't not have a giant map because you've got a small portable one.
Right? Absolutely.
I think there's time and a place for all the different tools.
Yes.
Choose the weapon from your arsenal. But we like to expand your options there, and
And that's what I love
makes
because if you only have that one weapon, and God knows that one rolled up white laminate paper has seen some share of battles over the years, but that's the only one I've got. It's like that. If I can't draw it out in this, well, folks, if I forget one day not to pack it, and that's the brilliant thing about your stuff. If you're going to conventions, you don't want to pack all that bring to a convention. You want to buy stuff, bring it home, and
yeah,
this
and
allows you to play.
we also tend to, especially on our sort of more core products, just put that little blank set in as well.
Absolutely.
So you are
And
still covered for traveling with the blank mat. You just happen to have an extra, in that case, 59 pages of other maps. So you've got lots of other options.
I love it.
And that particular one, it's got a tavern. It's got the place where the ambush happens on the road. It's got the cave. It's just got a lot of very classic
Yeah.
encounter locations.
Absolutely, and you can always re-image them. And the only limit to your maps is the limit of the imagination of the players and GM.
Oh yeah, totally. And because we've got multiple products out there now in that particular sort of book format and range, they work with each other. So as soon as you've got two different books, suddenly you can combine them and like make a scene where you go from that tavern to that road.
I love it.
And we do a certain set which are they're two book sets. I should have some behind me. So yeah, so this comes with two books in it.
Cool.
And let me just do that. So two books will pop out.
Right.
And these ones, you basically open them up, put them together. It's a bit tricky to do on the webcam, but you'd end up with like a 2 foot by 2 foot area.
Yeah.
That you can place them on, and they're designed to be modular and interchangeable.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that Gen Con, they were so smooth. Like you just go from one to another. It's amazing how it's done.
Yeah, so on the back of this one, we tend to show the 2x2 spread to try and get it without too much reflection.
Very cool.
So almost everything we do is laminated, so it reflects like anything. So that's lots of 2x2 combinations, but you can swap them round. So if you want a hedge maze going into like the castle kitchen, just put those 2 pages together.
Yeah.
And as soon as people start to get more of these in their group, so not necessarily the DM has to get everything, but if the group's got 2 or 3 different products, suddenly I've no idea what the maths of it is, but your options go up and up and up with the more you have, because you can change what is happening on different pages.
Right, and that's the great thing is not everyone's going to bring rolls of white laminate with them to draw their own maps out if they're not DMs, but they can bring that.
Yeah, I mean, for the traveling GM, absolutely perfect. For the GM who's got their fantastic 3D modeled setup ready to go, and the players come around, they're like, we're going to get to like the Temple of Doom any moment now, but first we're going to go to the pub. And it'd be like, right, okay, well, we'll park that for a minute. You can have this super epic boss battle after you've had your pub encounter. And you can just pop a map down and it's ready to go. And you don't have to railroad your players too much into the big setup you've got.
That's always it.
Or it's the other one where you've had the big fight and they've run through it in like an hour and you've got like 4 hours of session left. Then what else do you do? Yeah,
the maps pop
probably
out.
Go somewhere else. Yes. Yeah.
That's. I mean, if you've ever been a game master, you know that the players, no matter how well thought out you had your encounter beforehand, the players will wreck it. No matter what.
Well, I had the absolute opposite in the last session I ran. I'd spent a good few hours setting up the next things and got to that and they're like, oh no, we're just going to nosy around this area for the entire session and re-go over what we did last week. It's like, oh, I could have done 0 prep and everything would be fine because they just went back over it all. Yeah. But, that's what they do.
That's what I want to do. That's what they want to do. And so you go from the Loke battle mats into card games too, though.
Yes, we're always trying to sort of like think of things that we would want as basically the customer, and then see if we're in a position to create, make, and bring it to market. So some of the classic examples of that are things like the wrapping paper. So there's always this conversation every sort of like holiday season that keep your wrapping paper, it's got a 1-inch grid on the back. And it's like, oh, well, we can work with that. So we basically do wrapping paper that has a fully detailed dungeon battle map on one side and then a 1-inch grid on the other. So you can thematically gift to like, your friends who are into D&D and whatever RPG stuff, or to your gaming group. And then you can carefully take it off and use it. That we usually have like gift cards that have got a QR code, so you can get a digital copy, so you can reprint it if you want to and things.
Really?
Like that. Or use it in your online games.
Well, that's very cool. No, that's very generous too. Because I know people who are just like, no, that's it. Like once you buy it, you're done. You ripped it too, tough.
No, I mean the logistics of digital is so much easier than the logistics of physical products. We tend to be as generous as we can be with the digital for people that have got the physical.
Really?
So a lot of our books will have a QR code on so that you can get those maps in digital format to use as well as using the book. And some places,
you're saying the actual laminate battle map books have a QR.
Yes. So it's the more recent ones. do.
Huh.
Some of our products have QR codes inside the packaging and things like that. But yeah,
Interesting.
they'll generally say somewhere on them if they've got free digital content.
Very
And
cool.
we're moving more and more towards having that free digital content.
Yeah,
So as well as the wrapping paper and stuff, we have moved, as you say, into card games. The first of which isn't so much a game as an accessory. So the deck of many insults. It's what it says it is. It's a deck of 50 sort of like tarot size cards, a little bit smaller than tarot there. This is a different deck, but they're these sort of oversized poker sort of cards.
Yeah.
And there's just 100 fantasy themed insults. So good for your vicious mockery bards, good for a GM that wants their NPCs to be quite insulting to their players quite frequently. And just a fun thematic gift for those RPG groups.
With expansion pack, by the way, because I saw the one, it was, for those who are wondering, the insults they're good, we'll say PG-13 in America.
There's a mix. I think it's got a 16 on it, but there's
16?
50
Okay.
50 cards have got some cursing and swear words on. 50 cards don't. So in theory, if you wanted to, you could split that deck and make it more child friendly.
Right. Or get an expansion pack and make it worse.
Yeah, we're doing an even more insulting insults expansion pack, crowdfunding on backer kit in the fairly near future. So within about the next month or so,
Cool.
I think we are live on that. I'd have to find the link, but I can share that later.
Absolutely.
And along with that, we're also doing another expansion pack for something we released at Gen Con, which was Dumb Dares and Silly Sidequests.
Yes.
So this is more gamified than Deck of Many Insults is. And it's essentially, the concept here is that it's a party game, but it's not a party game that the players play with each other. It's a party game that they play out as their characters inside the RPG session. So it's mainly whimsical things. So it'll be things like, narrate this combat like a sports coach. Give your weapons inappropriate names. Things like that. And it's to try and get a little bit of that actual play into character comedy, sort of light-hearted banter going.
Yeah.
And you can gamify it. So when you do these dares, you can kind of go to the GM, oh, I've completed one of my dares, I did the thing it said. And people are like, oh, yeah, I think you did that well. Here's an inspiration. Here's some like XP for your character. Here's like a reroll token. Here's just a little something inside the game session to encourage you to sort of do the thing. And the way that we suggest handing these out, so the deck of those, there's 100 cards in there. So there's a big sort of range. And they tend to have what the character should do. I thought, I've found almost one of those straight away. So it'll be the character must, in this case, it's enthusiastically narrate your actions during combat. And then there's an example. So the example here is, stunning parry straight into a flawless cut knot. Topless? Top notch, in fact. So I say top notch and flawless next to each other. And the idea is that the players at the table would each pick one card to give to another player. So say there's like 5 of you at the table, you'll end up with 5 cards. But it's 5 cards that have been picked by your friends. So if they know you don't like doing silly voices, they're, I don't know, my friends, they're like, yeah, you're getting the pirate voice one.
You get this one now.
Yeah. You already start that interaction and engagement between the people at the table, trying to, in theory, have fun or, wind up their friends as you hand the cards out.
Which is always fun. Like the winding up part is part of the fun.
Yeah, and if you don't want to be fully wound up, maybe let people redraw one of their own choice. So they've got at least something they can do. But yeah,
it's a good idea.
It's gone down very well with people that have come to the shows. We've done a couple of sort of test games and things with random groups of it, and yeah, it's just a fun concept that we've got the bone because we're a relatively small company as far as headcount goes. So if we have an idea, we can kind of go, I think that's got legs. Let's design it. Let's cost it. Let's bring it out. And I think Dumb Dares was a conversation in January, and it's a live product by the middle of the year.
I was asking, so it goes from conversation concept. Sorry, I was hit my mic. Conversation concept in January to full print, to where you can sell it, because we saw those in Gen Con in late July then.
Yeah, so I mean the full sort of timescale of that is there's a large B2B sort of like trade show early in the
Right.
year, sort of February, March time, which is where you'd show off your samples of things coming out and even prototypes and things to get feedback from retailers and the industry people. So like
Right.
not the direct customers, but the people between us and those customers. And we had prototypes made up in time for that show. So concept January, prototype ready by end of February. Feedback's good. That's a goer. Print run is go. A print run can take about a month or two for a deck of cards. Shipping about a month or two. So we were keen to get it in time for Gen Con, and managed it.
That's pretty decent. When you're doing the demo, I've seen, and there's probably more than one, but there's one pretty popular one in Prague. There is a gaming cafe that almost specializes in play testing and demos. And sometimes demos are just like, here's a sheet of paper with like 2 drawings on it.
Yeah.
How intricate are your demos at this point when you're doing B2Bs?
We tend to be fairly fully set. So there are places which for cards you can get custom set decks of cards done without having to go through the factory process.
Okay.
And for things like just printed matter, you can go to copy shops and things and get a relatively complete plate. I mean, obviously, it would never work for trying to sell it on because you probably spend 10 times the amount you'd even think of. But you can go and get a couple of like manually printed out sheets. A deck of 100 cards can be printed local quite easy, that sort of thing. So I think this deck here is actually one of the prototype sets.
Nice.
Because they tend to loiter my office.
Yeah, because I asked that because I had it's off camera right now, but we were doing a drinking game mixed with trivia and stupid challenges. And the first place that you actually make these cards, the really first place is kind of like in North America, we have Staples. It's a print center. You would never want to print mass production because they cost like $25 a deck just to print out.
I mean, the very first set for Deck of Insults, we printed a prototype set out before Dragon Meet, which is one of the UK cons in November, December. And for that one, we kind of had them ready and quite a tight timeline. We went to a business card shop, and there's just one of the online ones, and they will do a different image on one side for each card. So you're like, okay, well, we can get 100 cards done with a different image on and delivered tomorrow. Right, okay, that's good. We can get that for the show. We can, show people a prototype that's going to be very different to the final product. But the concept is there, and people can see it. Yeah, and it looks professional enough. Yeah, like it's not got its finished packaging. It's probably not the finished custom size and things like that.
Right, but it didn't look like you printed it out in your LaserJet from 1987. And
yeah, I mean, I have seen that for prototype before, where people just get like a card sleeve, so like a clear sleeve, and put normally a trading card, game card in to give it some solidity, and then just a piece of paper slots over the top. So it feels like a card, but it very much looks like a prototype.
I think you're talking exactly what I did for my first prototype. Those exactly like the card sleeves. Like put them in, like no one's gonna notice.
Yeah, and I think that works absolutely fine.
Yeah.
If you're going up to a level where you're talking and pitching these sort of things potentially, then you'll move to like the nicer finish.
Yeah, those are play tests. Like the ones we were doing, those are all the first play test room at Gen Con, especially. You get 1,200 people touching your stuff. You want something to wipe down easily.
Yeah, but a prototype I think is fine to have like chess and checkers pieces and boards,
and that's the thing, is like
all that sort of thing.
So you're saying as long as you can imagine it, you could probably build it now.
Yeah, I mean we've stuck mainly with printed matter. So we've done books, we've done cards, we've done boxes, posters, lots of things. We've got good relationships with factories that do that type of product.
Right.
We've played around with a couple of like ancillary products, so things like acrylic standees.
Right.
And there's always the blue sky sort of folder of ideas has all manner of crazy things in that, like haven't got to the point of thinking, what would it cost to do that? So just
Yes.
the ideas that, haven't materialized into something yet, and, may very well be a different form by the time they do, is a big list. Because, anytime you have an interesting idea, you go, well, make a note of that. But if it's one of those ones like Dumb Dares was, it's like, that's an idea, let's put it on the list. Well, you know what? We can probably write and have this printed within a couple of weeks. Let's see see how it works. And yeah, so I mean, we've definitely got some things that have moved on from concept just into like early design stages, but have never become products because either something else has come along, or we've kind of never quite got the zen down with it exactly how we want it.
Right. I was going to ask. That was actually my next question. Was like, because sometimes it's a technology thing. Sometimes it's the artist going, something's not quite. You have to work it out in your mind as it goes along. How long do those kind of stay in that purgatory?
I mean, some are probably still there.
Okay.
Probably my most recent example is the Dungeon Designer deck, which we've released. Again, that one was we sold them at Gen Con as a pre-release, and their mass market release is anytime sort of now. So I think in the US, and that's a collection of 100 cards, a little fold-out map, and a little reference book. And this is the core of it is scenery cards that will sit down and sort of merge neatly onto the battle map. And on the flip side of it, it's an encounter table.
Love it.
And that was down as a thing we're going to do, but whether it was the getting it drawing started or writing started, it just for some reason took a long time to get where it needed to be. Then seemed to sort of, once it got started, really just kicked off and became a very good product once it started being written in earnest, I think.
Weird. Oh, there you are.
A bit of a blip there.
We're back. So we were talking about the dungeon in a box, the instant dungeon, and I think we explained this in Gen Con, and I think that's a brilliant idea, where the encounters can be card based. You turn it over, boom, and that's what happens.
Yeah. So it kind of evolved from being sort of like basically just a set of scenery and card format to essentially being like its own little toolkit, and I think that's where it gelled, because it was more of a sort of like, why are we making this set of scenery cards? Yeah, that something else needs to fit into that product. And the idea that it could then become its own little toolbox because we put a book in there so that if the card's down on the table, you don't have to flip it over mid-session to reference what the encounter is. So you can kind of go, okay, that's down. I can, as the DM, do my thing. If you're solo playing, put a map down, throw down a couple of random cards from the deck, and not know what encounter they've got until you go into that room, turn it over, roll the dice, go, oh, okay, right, this, explodes. This has a couple of skeletons coming out of the wall. Whatever the thing is, suddenly you've then got to deal with it. So it's a great deck for solo play. Yeah. It's a great deck for GMs doing a bit of pre-planning, because you can just deal a few cards and go like, why have I got some barrels, like an astronomer's study and a pool of water? What is this room? Why do these things interact? Your creative juices start flowing straight away as you starting to go, what could happen here? How can I make these things interact? And, how can I make this interesting for the players? You've also got the bit where, as I say before, quite often the players will burn through the content you have ready for them. And you're like, right, we've still got 2 hours. We're, sat around a table. Let's give them some more dungeons. So, like, obviously promoting our own products here, but like you could put an extra couple of pages of map book down, deal out a couple of bits of scenery to it, and suddenly you've got something else for them to be doing on the fly very quickly.
Which is brilliant. And that's the imagination of your products works with other people's imaginations, and that's the perfect synergy. It's a great mind flower, and it's something that you can just do a quick game, or a quick setup, I should say, not a quick game, and then just be able to play. Boom. Or if your GM is sick one day and someone's trying to be a new GM, boom.
Oh yeah, no, perfect for new GMs. And for that one, we've set rules in it that will work from 1st to 10th level D&D 5e.
Oh,
will tend to either write things system agnostic or for D&D, mainly because
very
if you've
cool.
done it for D&D, it's the easiest thing to convert into another system, and it's the one with the largest number of people playing anyway. So even if you're not playing D&D, these things will work because you'll understand things like, oh, it's got a high armor class, so it should be difficult to hit.
Yes. It's very transferable, and that's part of the charm, especially when you're talking about the other adventures. I'm thinking like the extra token thing, the experience thing, the gold thing, whatever you want to give your players as a reward. It's there across campaigns. It could be Cyberpunk, it could be Ragnarok, it could be any a Star Wars game, whatever you want. It's all kind of there, and it's very adaptable to that. And I think that's brilliant.
Oh yeah, that's completely game agnostic. There's a slight fantasy sort of like slant to things, but it's so easy to go like, give your sword a name to give your blaster a name is not a particularly
Yeah,
big jump.
absolutely. Now, I asked this of all my guests. If you can go back and tell younger, and I mean like teenager below you, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Directly game related.
Yeah, anything you want.
Yeah, I think maybe that like starting your own business and being in charge of essentially your own career and life is probably better than going and getting those jobs and working for someone else.
Yeah.
Although obviously doing a bit of that gives you the experience to go and do the rest of it. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Being your own boss and setting your own destiny, because your career is a big chunk of your life. You may as well be in charge of it as much as you can.
Brilliant. Put your money on you.
Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely. Well, where can we find you besides these great cons, by the way? Where can we find you online?
So ourselves, LokiBattlemats.com. Um, although we're widely distributed, so you'll find us on your local gaming stores shelves. You find us on most of the big sort of like gaming online sort of
Nice.
places, as well as the more mass market things like Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Amazon, all of those sort of places as well.
Very, very cool. Sir, it's been a pleasure. Again, if you've never seen the Loki battle mats, you need to try them out. If you have any role players in your family, you don't know what to give them as a gift, check out the website. Go like this, pick something at random, it'll be perfect. I mean, this is the absolute place, but for anyone who's gamed or has friends or family who's gamed, I saw your booth and it was packed. It was just jammed. And it was all people going, "Oh my god!" Oh my god! Everyone's like more and more. Like you had a mob at some point. I had to like walk around people.
I think it's
I love it.
just the side effect of being essentially our own customers. So yeah, like I don't
Yeah,
think we would make a product that isn't something we would see on the shelf and go, oh, I want that.
no. And the hardest thing, honestly, the hardest thing was like, okay, my budget is X. How much can I buy here?
Yeah, we're at the stage now where we tend to have more products than we can possibly put onto a convention booth as well. So you're like, oh, what do we put on? Like obviously you do the new things, and then like how much
Yeah,
space do you give to existing?
it's like the Rolling Stones. You guys are basically the Rolling Stones at this point. Like, which song you want to do? I don't know. Love it.
Just
Love
have a
it.
10-hour set list.
Yeah. Well, again, pleasure on behalf of myself and Matt, and I'm trying this guy from the Midwest of the United States was Paul Harvey, and he always signed off this way. I'm trying to get this, and I've been failing for the last 2 months. We bid you good day. Bye, everyone.